40 was too short.
First place in male, 25 to 29 from Lakeland, Florida, Anessa Mucherera.
What? 17:30? How did I get to the end this quick? There's nothing that 400 meters can do to me that I can't recover from. I did not think that this race was gonna be a PR race at all. This incline is the thing that has scared me about this course, since I signed up for this race. What's up guys, Anesu here. We are just a few days after I finished up my first 5K of the year, the 2024 Bonnet Springs Park 5K, and this race was awesome. It turned out a lot better than, I performed a lot better than I thought I was going to. But I just wanted to do a race recap to kind of just document this journey, race day itself, and a few takeaways that I feel I've gotten from running this race. The race started off pretty quick. We were at the start line. There was, I think, about 670 people, they said, signed up for this race. Gun goes off and everybody starts pouring out over the start line, and I probably ran a good maybe 200 to 300 meters in before I looked at my watch and I saw 5:40, 5:45 pace on it, and I was like, oh no, I gotta back up. I cannot keep up with this. But it's just like that energy that everybody gives when they're going and they're just trying to get out up in front, like, it's easy to go with. So I quickly dialed myself back down, and it's one of those things that, like, it's weird. I will say that it's weird to throttle it down that quick, because I was consciously making that decision to slow myself down to a pace that I didn't really want to go much faster than 6:25, 6:20 at the beginning of the race for my first mile. And so when you start slowing down to that pace and everybody's still going the 5:40 pace, you start to have a lot of people passing you. I had probably about a good 15 people or so, I think, that I counted in front of me before the first half mile. And that just goes off of one of those things that I just knew that I had to play the patient game, and that my time to increase on the speed would come later in the race. And so we come up to the first half mile. I started to settle into the rhythm. First, when I slowed down, I was slowing down a little bit too much. I looked at my watch again, and I think I was about 6:38 pace. So then I had to speed it up just a little bit, and I think I settled into a 6:20 pace that I was feeling good, comfortable, knew I wasn't going to wear myself out with. When we hit the half mile point, it was right around the point of the course that a downhill starts. And I'm familiar with this course. I run it on my off days just to go out running. And so I knew that this downhill was a perfect spot to start opening it up. So as soon as we started hitting that decline, I started just letting it take me along and opening up my speed, just going again off of effort pace, knowing that my actual pace would increase and I could bank some time on this hill. And that's when I started to pass a couple of people. I think I passed maybe anywhere between 3 to 5 people on that first downhill that I went on. Then you level out, and then soon you start coming up to this big hill, this incline, which this incline is the thing that has scared me about this course, since I signed up for this race. And anytime that I've tried to go effort pace, heavy effort pace up a bit, every time that I get to the top, I get gassed. So I decided before this race that I was just going to do a steady pace up it, and I will make up any time on the flat ways. There's people out there at the bottom of the hill cheering you on, and that's one of the things. I was just having fun. So I was cheering back to them. I was yelling, let's go, let's do this. And it kind of just took my mind off the hill. And before I knew it, like, I was at the top. So we come around, it turns into a loop course. We're going, and then soon we hit the main gathering portion of the run club area, and everybody's there, music's going, they're cheering you on, and I got to see my family at that point, and the energy just starts to pump up again, and I was like just having fun with it again. So I'm cheering on the crowd as I'm running by. I got to see my family, got to root with them, and I look at my watch and we're now 1.5 miles in. It's like, whoa, I'm feeling good, and we're almost basically halfway through this race. So now's another point in time that I can start to pick it up. And even coming around this area, I knew that we were going to start to have a little bit of decline, some slight little elevation, but not too much. More decline than elevation. And so I start opening it up again, picking up my pace for the second mile here. That's when I started to pick off people one by one throughout this race. It was probably through the 1.5 miles to the 2 mile point, actually 2.5 mile point, 1.5 miles to 2.5 miles that I was just cruising. I honestly can't even remember too much of the course throughout that point, but I was just rolling, and it felt good and smooth, all the way up until the point that you start to hit that hill again. I'm thinking about getting over this hill just by, again, having fun with it, cheering with it, and before I know it, I'm making it to the top of this hill. So now we're coming around one of the last portions of this course. Up until this point, I've been only looking at my watch to check the pace and check the distance of how far we've ran on this course. I hadn't looked at it to see time, but I looked at it to check my pace and time, and I saw 17:30 on my watch, and I knew that I was closing in on the finish, and I was like, what? 17:30? How did I get to the end this quick? That's 1.5 minutes, and I'm about it. I think it said I was at 2.8 miles. So 2.8 miles in, 17:30. Less than almost 400 meters, and I have 1.5 minutes. I was like, I could possibly close in under 19 minutes. Y'all, I immediately picked it up as soon as oh my gosh, as soon as that started to process, I was like, no way. So I hit the gas and started just going into high gear. I was like, there's nothing that 400 meters can do to me that I can't recover from, no matter how much energy I put into it. So I pick it up, I'm going, and then you come to a point that you start to round a corner. I don't know how far out you are, maybe somewhere around 40 to 50 yards out. You can start to see the clock, and I look at the clock and I see 18:45, and I still have distance to close. I was like, there is no way that I'm missing this sub-19 in this last stretch right here with 15 seconds left to go. So I pick it up to what I feel like is a full sprint. It definitely wasn't a full sprint with the, having 3 miles under your legs already. But I picked it up even faster, closed in, and I crossed the line at 18:55. Y'all, I was so elated, just threw my hands up in the air and gave a big yell of, yeah! Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe that I actually did it. I did not think that this race was going to be a PR race at all. There was no point in my mind that I fathomed that, this was the right course to be able to run any faster than I've ran before. Because all the courses that I've ran in the past have been pretty flat. So I'm like, if it ain't flat, then I can't run it fast. So don't expect a PR on this race. Not only did I PR, but I PR'd under a sub-19. What? Super stoked about that. So that was the race. I ended up coming in 9th place overall, and I was first in my age group of males 25 to 29 years old. Awesome race, super elated on how it turned out. Couldn't be more excited on how I ran that race. So let's talk about negative splits. This was the first race that I feel like I've consciously tried to put negative splits into my race. And so that's why I had to so consciously throttle myself back at the beginning so that I would be able to speed myself up throughout the end. I wanted to run a race where I didn't feel like I was exhausted midway through, or that I was just dying at the end with nothing else left. Now, in the end, I left everything out there, so I was still feeling pretty spent at the end of my race. I won't say that I didn't feel like I wasn't, seeing stars and all over the place, but it was different from feeling like I didn't have any gas left in the tank to give at the end of the race. Running it with negative splits, man, like, it's the way to do it. People will tell you that over and over again, but until you truly try it and you run a race that, like, you hit it on the head, it's hard to understand. It's hard to see at the beginning when you have to let those people go, but when you start just increasing your pace, feeling loose, and you start passing those people who just spent way too much throughout the beginning of their race, it just gives you momentum to keep on going. One of the things that I noticed after this race was that most 5Ks, it's about 1.5 to 2 miles in that I start having this battle of the mind of like, man, I don't know if I can make it. I don't know if I can keep this pace. I kind of want to give up. I really kind of feel like I need to slow down. Like, I didn't have any of those thoughts throughout this race, which once I actually realized that, I was like, whoa, like, this is the first 5K that I felt like I didn't actually have any of those hard thoughts that I was like having to fight of just give up. Like, you can't keep this up. Running is a super mental game, but this race, I think all due to the negative splits, it changed it for me. That was another takeaway that I had from this, is running the negative splits, it helps keep you on a forward momentum rather than a backwards progression of giving it all right out the gate. Another thing that I had to take away from this race was encouraging others. Throughout this race, I was having fun with it. I was maybe spending extra energy on cheering back with the crowd and, even yelling on other runners and, just telling people, like, good job, keep it up, as we're coming around the second loop and there's people who are still finishing their first. Just, trying to encourage them to keep on going and just showing them that, you can have fun with this. And I think by me doing that, it takes me out of myself for a moment in time, and I just keep on moving along, and I'm having a good time. The best races that I've ran have been the ones that I've let go of myself, and I've actually looked to try to encourage others throughout. That brings me to something that I want to share. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 11. It says, "Therefore, encourage one another and build each other up, just as in fact you are doing." Man, when you encourage other people, you get encouraged yourself. And I feel like that is a big part of why this race went so well for me. A word of encouragement to encourage other people in everything that you're doing. If you're having a hard time, find a way to encourage somebody else, and I'm sure you will be encouraged yourself. All of this to wrap up, what's next? I have a 1-mile race coming up in mid-April. My city government that I work for is putting on an employee fitness challenge. Throughout this week of employee fitness challenges, they have a 1-mile race, which I signed up for. I'm looking to try to take gold and be the fastest person in my city government. Oh man, I don't know how else to say it, but I'm looking to, throw it down on this race and be the top dog in this race. I've been having fun with this running, and this will be a fun way to show it. So I'll be out there on April 16th, I want to say is the day, running a 1 mile. And I don't know, I said one of my goals for this year is to try to run a sub 5-minute mile. I haven't necessarily done a ton of speed work up to this point to prepare myself for that, but maybe I'm in good enough fitness now to be able to do it. Maybe I'll go for that, maybe I won't, we'll see. Maybe I'll have to go to do a couple of 400 meter repeats or something and kind of see where I'm at. Definitely going to be shooting for the low 5 minutes, and if I can break the 5-minute barrier at this employee fitness challenge, I think I'll definitely have a shot at taking home the #1 place on this race. So that's one race that I have coming up, and then at the end of that same week, I have a 5K trail race coming up. Another one of my goals for this year was to run a trail race, just to experience it, something I haven't done before. So I have a 5K trail race coming up, which I'll inform you guys more on as we get closer to it. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this race recap, and have fun, enjoy running, and remember to encourage others and be encouraged yourself. Take care, y'all. See you later.